I had a conversation with a friend. His name is Caleb. I just met him a couple weeks ago, and first time we talked, he was asking me some questions about what I believe, and he kind of just jokingly was like, "Congratulations, you're a heretic," and this is like a little joke. And I've had that thought even before I had that conversation with him. I was really thinking about what it means to be a heretic, and maybe the implications of that today and why I am a happy heretic and why I'm more than okay with that label. If somebody wants to label me, you can use that label if you want. I'm not just going around telling everybody, "Hey, I'm Wesley, I'm a heretic." No, it's more like if you want to label me like that, I mean that's yes, your prerogative first of all. And secondly, that might be more helpful for you to understand my posture and why I say what I say, why I might believe what I believe. And just to make sure we're on the same page with this, let me show you the definition of heretic as seen on Google and by the Oxford. I believe the Oxford Dictionary. So there's two definitions here. One is a person believing in or practicing religious heresy, or a person holding an opinion at odds with what is generally accepted. And that's where I am. The second definition in particular. Of course, some of my thoughts are maybe they could be religiously heretical, but I think I'm especially tied to that second definition because I believe my thoughts and the way I think may not be what is generally accepted in the Christian spaces, and I'm okay with that. I've been okay with that all of my life, especially growing up in a tradition that tends to think like that. The tradition I grew up, and they thought that they were the only ones right, and so naturally their their opinions and their thoughts and their perspectives were at odds against what was generally accepted. So I'm more than okay with this idea because I think I've kind of been there most of my life. But further, even as I have detached myself, kind of like not even purposely, but even away from the tradition I was brought up in, I think now I'm pointed at as I could be pointing at as a heretic within my own tradition, and because I don't have the opinions and the thoughts and the ideas of what is generally accepted in the tradition that I grew up in. And now that's becoming true in that tradition, also in all Christian traditions, and I'm more than okay with that. And let me tell you why. First and foremost, I think as a pastor, I think I have a role, in a preacher and a minister. I think I have a role to be a prophetic voice. And when you hear prophet, it's not just someone that is predicting the future or looking towards what's going to happen in the future, but it's like giving a critical commentary of what is happening today and a truthful commentary. And what a prophet does is really unveils, I think, what is there, what is reality. And I'm not calling myself a prophet, but I think my posture can be prophetic in nature because I'm trying to step away from what is generally accepted and try to look at it from the eyes of the scriptures, the eyes of Christ, the eyes of God. And I'm not saying that I have the eyes of God, but I think sometimes you have to detach yourself from the community so that you can see things more clearly and maybe challenge the community. And it's not that I'm separating myself from the community because I'm one with all of creation. I'm one with Christians, non-Christians. I'm one especially with the tradition that I grew up in. So I'm still connected to this. However, I still believe that I have a role to play in challenging it. The same way I challenge myself and I'm hard and critical of myself. I ask myself questions. And so, because I do this with myself, I do this in all the other spaces I am in. And sometimes I land on conclusions that are not the conclusions that are generally accepted by everybody else. And I don't have a desire to give you examples. I think you can kind of see that in my work, you can see that in my music, you can see that in my videos. And if you have a particular thing you want to get some clarification on, I'm more than happy to have that conversation with you either here or even offline. I've had a lot of video conversations with people, and that's just growing more and more. Like I said, I want to be a resource, and I want to also go where I believe the Spirit is guiding me. Where the Spirit is guiding me is not where the Spirit is guiding you. And that is true with what I believe. That is true with The communities I'm a part of. That is true with the ways I'm interpreting scripture. Like all of this is very, I think, unique. And I want to say the word individualized, but I don't want to say that in a way that is, I think, traditionally understood in our context, in our American context, because we do have a really individual approach to our faith. When I think a lot of it has to be more community and more communal. But anyways, I'm saying all that to say this. My perspective is unique, just like your perspective is unique. And further, I would say that we all are heretics in some way. I mean, think about this. Do you have all the right answers? Does this does everything that you believe do you think that everything that you believe or everything that you know to be true is reality? Do you think that everything that you believe and all of the ideas that you have are the same ideas that God has? Like, think about that for a second. For me, obviously, I would say no, heck no. Like, I think until I die, there are going to be some ideas that I have that are heretical, and there are some ideas that I have that are maybe more generally accepted or more orthodox. I think that's going to happen until I die because I don't have God's knowledge. I don't have access to what God thinks. And of course, we have the scriptures, and many would argue that the scriptures is what God thinks and is the knowledge of God. And I would push back on that for many reasons. I think it shows us what God thinks and what God has revealed Himself to be, but God has continued to reveal Himself. God continues to reveal, uh, who God is, and we see God in the scriptures, but we also see God, man, at these trees I'm looking at right now, or the blue skies. God, every single day I get to see God, whether I'm reading scripture or especially if I'm opening myself to God, opening my mind, opening my heart to God. So I say all that to say this: we all have these heretical ideas, and I think it takes a healthy person to acknowledge that. Yeah, I may have some things right, but yeah, I may have some things wrong. In fact, I do have some things wrong, which is why I need community, which is why I need people and relationships, because I have blind spots and I will continue to have blind spots. Because as soon as I, address one blind spot, I'm creating another blind spot. Does that make sense? So this is an ongoing thing. And I think it's a beautiful thing because then I never arrive. As long as I live, I never arrive. And because I never arrive, this makes life exciting. This makes life worthy to be lived because every single day is a new opportunity. Every single day is newness. Like, I will never experience today like I experienced yesterday. I won't experience tomorrow like I experienced today. Like, everything is new. And I think it's a beautiful thing. So I'm saying all this to, first of all, alleviate myself of that fear of being labeled as a heretic, because like I'm okay with that. Like I've grown to be okay with that. I remember one time I had a conversation with my wife, and I was kind of joking. I was like, I'm a heretic, right? And she was like, I mean, yeah, I mean, look who you are. Look how you think. I mean, you're very different, and that's okay. I think we need people. And the problem is, this is the last kind of critical thing I'll say about this is, we've killed heretics. The church has killed heretics in the past, and we continue to kill heretics. And we don't do that like by taking their lives, at least in the context that I'm a part of. No, there's no taking of the lives, but we do take the livelihoods of those that do not believe what we believe or think how we think. Meanwhile, we're not even acknowledging their character or maybe how the fruits of their beliefs are being manifested in their life. We don't have an emphasis on character, the character of the individual. We kill an individual, metaphorically speaking, based on what they think and what they believe. And I think this is a very toxic way to deal with Christianity. Um, and maybe that's all I'll say with that. But like, let me give you an example. I guarantee you, there are some spaces that I would never be asked to speak in again, and I'm okay with that because I don't necessarily want to be in those spaces. But like, say if I needed that income or whatever, I needed that opportunity to maybe support my family or whatever. Um, people are not being welcome into spaces because of they're not coming into this, aligning themselves with the general posture of the group. Does that make sense? We're not celebrating diversity in thought. We're not celebrating diversity at all. We're saying if you don't fit this, if you don't look like this, you don't belong here, and we're not going to call you in here to share what you think because we have a way of doing things here, and if you don't do it like we're doing it, you don't belong here. And I don't want to be a part of that because I don't believe that's the church. I believe the church is meant to be diverse and inclusive. And I mean, look outside. There's diversity in creation. There's billions of trees. There's billions of organisms. And here we are as human beings thinking that we all need to be the same. Like how crazy is that? It's crazy. Okay. Anyways, that's all I'll say about this. I'm a happy heretic, and I hope that you can embrace your heretical views and your heretical thoughts and your heretical ideas, and maybe trust that God can still have you. God can still have you in your flaws. God can still have you in your questions, in your doubts, in your wrestling. God can still have you. And God's love is not conditional upon your right thinking, not even your right behavior. God's love is not conditional. And I hope and pray one day the church will be filled up with more people who can practice unconditional love, down to the idea, down to even the behavior of the individual. And not saying that we're just embracing everything and just allowing people to treat us however they want to treat us, right? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, no, there's more to this. Humanity is complex. And I think we try to treat things like everything is one dimensional in the church today. And I'm just trying to address this and bring this to the light so that we can be better together. And as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. As I'm talking to the church, I'm talking to myself because I am one with the church and I'm one with you. All right, that's all I have to say. Blessings to your day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And may God continue to fill you with peace, with joy, with love, with trust, and with a faith that goes deeper than our thoughts and our ideas. Thank you for watching. I'm just chilling with my brother. I'm with my brother. I'm just chilling with my brother. I'm with my brother. I'm just chilling with my brother. I'm with my brother. I'm just chilling with my brother.